so agitated, and they said, Srila Prabhupada, but it was such a serious mistake. How can we just forgive him? Okay, to put some conditions, let him, bring, whatever, make this money or whatever, something should be done. And Srila Prabhupada said, oh yeah, and that temple president said, I would never do it again. And Srila Prabhupada said, he said he will never do it again. And then all the temple presidents, they started shouting, but he told that already so many times. He did that before, number of times. How can we believe him? Srila Prabhupada said, but he is a Vaishnava, so we must forgive. And we are Vaishnavas must forgive. And temple presidents, they said, how many times we have to forgive that guy? And Prabhupada's reply was shocking. He said, as many times as it is needed for him to rectify himself. As many times as he will commit mistakes, we will forgive him again and again. And of course, instances like that would actually make Prabhupada disciples, everybody involved, to think very deeply what actually Krishna consciousness is and how much it is different from material considerations, and how that, according to Sachinandan Maharaj, this is the greatest proof of the presence of love of God in someone, that person becomes unlimitedly compassionate towards those who are conditioned. And of course, we see so many examples of Srila Prabhupada's disciples and followers, how they got this amazing heritage from Srila Prabhupada. Of course, there are so many examples, and for myself, because I'm spending some time traveling with my spiritual master, I see how it manifests in him, and sometimes it's unbelievable. How can he tolerate sometimes very provoking situations? Like, I remember we were driving once in Russia, in Moscow, and we were driving to one of the programs, public programs, and he was sitting at the front seat of a minibus, and we were sitting behind, and he was wearing pretty thick garland made of roses, like that. And we were driving on the ring road, and one car was overtaking us, and it was BMW, pretty, flashy new BMW, and it was full of youngsters, and they saw him because he was like fully dressed as devotee, and they started ridiculing him. They started mocking him and making faces, trying to annoy him, like that. And we were sitting behind, we didn't know what to do, Two cars run parallel, You can't really jump out and beat up the guys. Not possible, so we were thinking what to do. And meanwhile, he was looking at them. It was very interesting because he was sitting higher than them, and they were from the lower level. They were like making faces and this, and they really looked like monkeys, behind the bars, making these faces. And he looked at them once, we were kind of laughing at them too, and he looked at them once. He didn't laugh at them at all, and he didn't seem to be annoyed too. He looked at them twice, and he was thinking about something. And then he kind of lowered his window. He took out his garland, and he handed it over towards that BMW. And they were shocked. And one of the guys lowered his window, reached the garland, and they took the garland out of his hands. And they were like looking at the garland in the car, and it was, even though we couldn't hear what they were talking about, but it was always like, wow, real roses, And they were very surprised to see garland made of real roses like that. And we were laughing at them now, all of us, how surprised they become. And actually, but Indra Maharaj didn't laugh. He just turned to us and he said, when they throw stones at us, we give them flowers back. And that's why we're very fortunate in this movement. We have not only Srila Prabhupada, but his sincere followers, his disciples, and we have so many amazing personalities we could fully surrender to and advance Krishna consciousness and get rid of pride in the first place. Develop real humility. It is. I looked at the net, just for the references on pride. And I found one ancient Jewish proverb. It says that pride is the mask of one's own faults. Pride is the mask of one's own faults. So, when somebody understands his own faults, then one, is exhibiting pride to mask those faults. But one who is actually perfect will have no reasons to display any pride. One will actually show genuine humility. And that's a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is genuinely humble. There are so many other things we could discuss in that regard. Of course, the main thing, the main element which is very important for our advancement in spiritual life is hearing. Hearing about Krishna and hearing from the mouth of his devotee, from the spiritual master. Because right at the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Srimvata Svakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Vidyanto Stoya Badrani Vidunoti Suvritsa Prabhupada. When we dedicate ourselves to listening about Krishna, whether it is Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's own words, or Srimad Bhagavatam, description of Krishna's pastimes and activities. Punya, Shravana Kirtana, this process in itself makes us pious. And in India still there are so many people that understand that, no matter what, whether we want to gain material or spiritual benefit, doesn't matter. We have to attend classes, we have to listen about Krishna. That's why sometimes you will find in India, like, for example, you give class in English language, right? And so many people listening to you very attentively. They're not getting distracted, they're not falling asleep, from beginning to the end, they listen very attentively. But after you start talking to them, and you will discover that hardly any one of them understands any English at all. They were just listening without understanding, because they had so much faith that the process in itself is purifying, like that. And unfortunately, in the West, people, they tend to rationalize too much.